Well, I guess there's no avoiding it. Hiya folks, welcome to the show. Well, this is it. We have finally made it to the finale of Ducktales, Season 3, Episode 22, The Last Adventure. The final chapter in this beautiful story. It feels unreal that we're finally here. 4 years, 3 seasons, and 68 episodes in the making, and we're about to see it all come to an end. I'm fully expecting the finale to be insane, loaded with continuity, emotional, and above all, satisfying. I have complete faith in this team to deliver, and according to Frank, the finale left absolutely nothing on the table, so I'm hoping we get something more along the lines of the Shadow War rather than Moonvasion. If you happen to be new around here, feel free to subscribe because I need some emotional support right now. Also, just reminding you to check out my huge retrospective of the series that I recently released. I put a lot of work into it and the reception so far has been amazing. Right, that's all I have to say, so for the final time, let's jump right in. Okay, here we go. The Last Adventure. The DuckTales series finale. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, Donald. The music is really good. Oh. Who gets stuck with all the bad luck? No one, but Donald Duck. Oh, Pep! Oh, the continuity. Continuity! Thank you, Louie. Oh. Wow, Louie got strong. Oh, the #1 dime. Well, no, he doesn't keep the #1 dime in there. I love the facial expressions here. Oh, Louie. Never change. I'm really surprised that they're featuring these two. I honestly thought the last episode would be their send-off. I can't believe they're getting such a... Oh, the Sharkers! Oh, Launchpad, I've missed you. Launchpad and Webby interactions. Launchpad and Webby interactions. We haven't gotten that since the Shadow War. This is adorable. That's just a background from Big City Greens. Magica. Why is Magica driving a car? Well, that was it. You know, the visuals were kind of a bit different, like, you know, kind of a downgrade from what we've been experiencing throughout Season 3 up to this point, but, you know, they did kind of blow their entire budget on that last episode, but, yeah, no, they gave... Every character I wanted to see had, like, such a great moment, especially Louie. Like, they loved Louie in this episode. But, yeah. You know, it wasn't really what I was expecting it to be, but I couldn't have asked for anything better. Okay, now let's watch the actual finale. In 3, 2, 1. Feathery. Oh my. Yes, she has. That is actually close to the money, Launchpad. Well done. It's Webby's birthday. Oh, they're all here. Everyone's here. They know. They know Foul's there. Oh my god.
I have the best family. How'd you score a map of Foul's secret headquarters? Launchpad's been talking in his sleep lately, in a British accent for some reason. I just chapter on dream.
It's all coming back. Everything's coming back.
Of time to divide and conquer. Screw this team will retrieve the missing mysteries. While my
No, do not split up. That is the worst thing you could do.
It's the last level from my favorite video game, Double O Duck. Foul must love that game too.
Do it. Do it.
You guys gotta get at it.
That's Tom Kenny.
Come with me if you want to there.
That's one, Dewey Pump. That's one. We got one.
The Series 10 Trebubble. According to my research, it can absorb.
The missing case file to Major 22. That's my boy. The little bulb using his walkie-talkies. This just feels so well thought out.
This is it. Answers about everything you've been searching for.
No, Huey.
Right, Bradford.
Huey.
The jig is up. They cleared everything out. Not quite everything.
What?
Well, they appear to be complete genetic clones of.
They're Webby.
Well, the evidence would.
I thought Bradford was trying to destroy our family, not make more of it.
Well, my analysis.
Adopt them.
Months. Keep back, Webigail. These clones are foul creations and therefore dangerous.
Foul created Webby, didn't they?
I know, but I'm kind of an expert on mystically charged clones made by Scrooge's enemies. Something's not right. Practically Webbigail's genetic twins. I just don't want anything to happen to you, Pink. Besides, you've already got sisters.
Out of the way! This is the series finale of Ottoman Empire. Everything has been leading up to this.
It has. It has, Louis, you're right.
What are these?
Marbles.
Weapon or you? Because we're like family.
No, I do not like this. I do not like this one bit.
Classify them.
Ooh! Come on, Huey.
Like, the boxes would have 6 sides. Like a box.
I swear, Launchpad's gonna end up being right.
Juice! I love juice!
The gummy berry juice.
Careful with that. It's top secret. Have you really
Chekhov's gun. That's coming back. I know it's coming back.
Webby's family board!
Oh.
Seems like this is mostly about the McDucks. They are my family. We may not be related by blood, but by love.
Found Family Talk Show.
Granny gave up her job as a spy so she could raise me. I never really knew my parents before they... That's it! I bet your spy granny is hiding something about your actual family that explains why we exist! What? No! Granny and I don't keep any secrets.
We're gonna get some Webby backstory and I'm not ready. That's his Quackback shirt, isn't it?
Anti-venom, camouflage, night vision goggles.
That-
Better take the sword of Swanstantine. It'll magnify your inner strength.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're my brother.
Oh.
Phooey. Alright, Casanova, I'll help. You never were any good at packing for adventure. A Hawaiian shirt? Is it 1996? We're going shopping.
No.
Something, come on.
Just gonna have this out just in case.
Maybe they're just harmless kids like us.
The Sawdust wants to tea. No, no.
Maybe they're spies coming to steal our missing mysteries. Yes, I was right. Oh no, I was right.
Mm-hmm.
What are you up to?
What? Oh, nothing. What are you up to?
She's gotten a little better at lying.
Because you are the most important thing in my whole world, Webbigail.
And they're confused and totally in the dark about our part in this whole thing. They just want to learn about their family. I thought you guys would understand that.
We play. I made fresh tea. I even reuse the same old tea bag. You can really taste how much it's costing me. I do it. I made the mistake of keeping a secret from my family once and it almost tore us apart. This family can handle the truth, Bentina. Whatever it is.
She's gone.
Alright, I'll tell you everything.
Mrs. B, no!
Don't you want to know? Come with us, sister. Please. I can't abandon everyone I love. Look, guess we're gonna have to do this the hard way. I'll take the missing mysteries to the rendezvous point. You bring her. One way or another. What are you?
Come on, Webby. Come on, come on. This is some amazing fight choreography. No, 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 no. Got me berry juice.
We wanted you to be our sister. Why did you have to make it so difficult? No.
Webby. No, 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 no.
Webby, look, I'm sorry. Webby? Webby!
Come on. Go on, Huey.
Sorry, June, but I have to find answers.
That's my girl.
The bolts are gone. They busted out. Webby is missing. Maybe kidnapped or worse. They found all the Scrooge knocked out.
Binkley went rogue.
How do you know Huey's gone?
He left this. Huey never leaves without it.
Come on, Donald.
June, did you secure the hostage? You betcha. Bag a cat. By me, June.
That's a callback to Escape from the Impossible Bin.
Is that the Library of Alexandria?
This is so well thought out.
So no, you did not do good. Your efforts are as
Is it the papyrus? Is the last missing mystery the papyrus?
Yep, I am a lone intruder caught by June here.
Nice cover.
But I'll never back down. A junior woodchuck never gives up in the pursuit of truth.
Yes, the woodchuck. Clone 1, take him to my office.
Is there some connection to Isabella Finch?
Where do you think you're going?
Save it, we're coming.
Fenton tried to help me get my people back. I'm gonna do the same for him.
Huey made me not a killer robot.
It's Webby.
So are we gonna do that thing where you tell us not to go and we sneak along anyway?
Or are we gonna go get our family back? Manny, track their location by calibrating the overthrusting oscillator with 3 nanograms of bombastium.
I found Huey using the tracking app on my phone.
Losing touch, fearless. Hey, take the expendable nerd.
The expendable nerd. Oh, Huey.
I'll never help you.
Isabella Finch.
What do you want with the missing mysteries?
Why, to finish my grandmother's work.
Isabella Finch was your grandma?
We're both searching for Finch's missing mysteries, for knowledge, for understanding, for the good of mankind.
For taking over the world.
Fighters, we'll head in and wipe out Fowl's first.
Stop splitting up. That's when bad things happen.
How do we know we're not walking into a foul trap here?
Dewey's concerned about jumping into this one blind, and he's Dewey! I know, lads, it's scary, but you are ready. Louis can talk anyone into anything, so talk these kids into winning. And Dewey's the only one daring enough to get us through this. You two have got adventure in your blood. I believe in you.
Dewey the pilot?
The original three.
Yes!
And it's just 3 little ducks. Dramatic plot twist.
Excuse me, we are the science guys. You must be looking to fight the magic guys. How embarrassing for you.
Manny?
I want the greatest magical threat known to the world.
The headless man horse of the apocalypse?
What? That's absurd. Man, he's just an intern.
No, no. No, no, no.
Statistically speaking, in the absence of Hubert, one of us is likely to fill the void and speak out in panic. But who? Hey, fearful leader. Looks like some of us could use a pep talk.
Come on,
Hey
now.
everyone, I know you're scared. Our enemy, they have unimaginable weaponry. They definitely have superior numbers. It appears they even have a flawless master plan that none of us can figure out. Us? We are just kids. We are completely in over our head, Freddy and all.
Louis. No, 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 no.
Why, if he'd thought twice, perhaps your mother never would have been lost in space.
Oh, no, you did not just say that. April? Mrs. B takes no prisoners. Oh, I've been working for this for so long. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's just gonna keep getting back up. Oh my god, he's gonna find out. Darkwing's gonna find out Fetch'd his Gizmo Duck!
Gyro? When you're feeling led astray, be sure to mark your way. Gyro? Ah, nephew. Huey? Gandra? What's going on here? Bradford's grand plan and everything. Impossible! You were ancient in the 60s. How are you not dead?
I mean, same reason Scrooge and Goldie aren't.
I was getting so busy that I never got around to it.
Well, Bradford is collecting artifacts because he wants to rid the world of anything adventurous.
And he's not just getting rid of artifacts.
He's gonna erase my family. I gotta warn everyone.
What a disappointment.
Hat nephew, did you get away?
The Pogo Cane! Pogo Cane! I mean, that's nothing to Donald Duck. Oh! Oh, he is done for.
I don't think even Scrooge could get us out of this one. But I'm not on his team. I'm on yours. So I have an important question for you. How do we do this?
Yes! 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 Yes!
I would have ripped the place apart. I almost had him until I saw a girl, a foul creation left behind. Alone, innocent, scared. I didn't want this poor child to grow up as an instrument of evil. So instead of finishing my mission, I found a new one.
So you're not Webby's grandmother?
No.
Webby, Webby, no, come on.
Okay.
It's a trick, Webby. The papyrus.
No, I created you to help me defeat Scrooge McDuck once and for all. And with this, you just did. They'll all be joining you soon enough.
Lena, come on, Lena. Jean.
He's magic and under my protection.
It's Lena.
I swore I would never do this again. Hold this for me.
Oh. What?
This is unthinkable. I know. I can't believe Gizmo Duck chickened out and forced you to wear his armor into battle.
Come on, just tell him, Fenton. Put him out of his misery.
I can't do it.
I can. Let's get dangerous. Hi, Fenton. I'm ahead now.
This place is huge. If only we had a map or a guidebook. Quickly, you two. Open our sails by reversing the polarity on the triple wired coupling. We are children. Cut the red wire. When they do something right, they're heroes. When it gets a little hard, we're children. How did you guys find me? The Junior Woodchuck Guidebook has the answer to everything.
Let's go find Webby.
There she is.
As a chronicle
Oh, let's call him back to when they first met Webby.
for the last 30 years, we've seen hyper-intelligent rodents, caped crusaders, flying bears, bouncing bears, living statues, and misfits, and adventurers. And all these
So many
adventures
callbacks.
one. I tried to rein you in. Iceman.
Did he kill Duckworth?
Villain.
You're also not much of a Junior Woodchuck.
Get him.
On to new business.
Guys, if this is the end, I'm glad we're together. This is not comforting to me. I do not want to die.
So sweet.
Bees.
Make new foes, but keep the old. One is steel, the other is I used my superior intelligence to tweak the Intelliray. Now it can make people smart, dumb, or mindless slaves.
Oh, no, no, no. Magica. Oh. Oh. Lena. Lena, we need you. We're gonna get a Lena versus Magica fight. We're gonna get a Lena versus Magica fight. Oh, so much for the Lena versus Magica fight.
Oh wait, new user.
Launchpad, put on the armor.
I've torn you apart once before.
What are you babbling about?
How do you think Della found out you built the spear of Selene?
That's gonna be what does it.
Fowl has stolen a world's worth of
He's gonna push her in.
I'll cut off it, Bradford. If you wanted to get rid of everything unpredictable, you'd have to get rid of your own agents too.
Oh!
Bradford, how villainous. May and June were made from Webby. Who was Webby made from?
Why, old Uncle Scrooge McDuck, of course.
Bradford needed Scrooge's descendant, so he made one.
Webby is Scrooge's daughter?
Bless me, bagpipes.
I'm sorry. I'm not a hero.
That's ridiculous. You helped inspire me to be a hero.
And me, pal.
Same here.
I as well, Earthworm Cat.
Verily a noble soul.
Oh my god.
Be heroes, but you have the heart of one.
Say it! Say it! That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Enough story. You need some incentive. Perhaps the life of your most trusted ally.
No, 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 no.
What will it be, Scrooge? Adventure or your family? You have to the count of 5. 1.
All right, I'll do it. It's not worth the risk, lad.
Normally I wouldn't indulge in petty villainy, but since this is a
No, 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 no. Because he broke the contract. Oh.
Junior would check out the rule number 1. Always expect the unexpected.
Yes!
no more adventures.
Take him down. That's another Dewey pun. Come on, Louis.
Look what you've turned me into. A base villain.
Ha!
The Sword of Swanson amplifies who you are inside.
This is all you buzzard.
Yes.
A trip sounds good right about now.
Bradford, your contract is flawed.
What? Impossible.
According to this, Scrooge can be with his family as long as he does an adventure.
But family is the greatest adventure of all.
Yes.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's no way that. I will not lose to Scrooge.
You didn't lose to me. You lost to my family. All of them.
Really? And you're supposed to be Scrooge's greatest villain.
He's not even wearing a kilt.
I'm not a villain.
No, you certainly are not.
Trap him in the dime. Oh. family hug. That's what I wanted.
Launchpad was gizmoed up the whole time.
Yeah. Now that Heron's gone, where do we belong? We belong right here.
Oh.
What if the plane goes down over the bay? You don't have to worry about us, Uncle Scrooge. We're smarter, we're tougher, we're sharper.
And we'll earn our way square.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. That was close, Launchpad. Whew, almost ruined the tender family moment.
The hatch. I can't even. Oh, they're all coming together. That was everything. That was everything I could have ever asked for from the end of this wonderful, wonderful show. Just, they were right. They left absolutely nothing on the table. That was perfect. It was the perfect end to an absolutely perfect show. And, my only regret is that I did not start this channel sooner, so I couldn't have started reacting to episodes until halfway through Season 3. Because I would have loved to let everyone see what my reactions were to Quack Pack and Astro Boy and Louis 11, but that's it. That's all she wrote. Obviously, there's always going to be a few elements that, I can nitpick, but overall, it was DuckTales. What else can you say? I will be back with the review. Wow. Just wow. I knew the finale was going to be great, but nothing could have prepared me for that. The episode opens up at Webby's birthday party at Funzo's, as we get a quick montage of many fan favourite side characters, either making their final appearance or introducing them because they will play a significant role in the episode. And it's all set to a really nice instrumental rendition of the theme song. It's here Feathery accidentally reveals Donald is planning to leave with Daisy and go on their own adventure, which Della takes surprisingly well. Also, it was adorable that Scrooge paid full price for Webby's party, which for the guy who uses the same teabag for months on end to save a few pennies, this was huge. However, while Webby is excited to have what I'm assuming is her first real birthday party, we learn it's all actually a cover-up planned by Huey to raid Fowl's secret base, which he knows about because Launchpad has been talking in his sleep in a British accent. This is the start of the DuckTales crew flexing just how well thought out Season 3 was, because they found a way to weave in every single little thing, starting with a bunch of callbacks to Double O Duck. The family splits in two, with one side going to confront Bradford and the other side going to retrieve the missing mysteries, with Dewey leading one side since Fowl's base looks suspiciously like his favourite video game. But we're about 5 minutes into the episode, so why not throw in a ticking clock as the entire base is set to self-destruct because, needless to say, the agents of Fowl were not fooled.
Chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry? No real party has that kind of variety. It's a cover-up!
And here we enter the beginning of the end of Huey's arc, which, by the way, was something that was in fact going on throughout the entire season, despite people seemingly claiming that Huey has just not been present all season. Huey's arc has been all about his anxieties and learning to cope with the perpetual chaos that is his life. His conflict has been far more internal and spread out over the entire season, as opposed to Dewey and Louie, whose arcs were mostly condensed to the end of their respective seasons. Also, it might have something to do with the fact Huey's arc is the only one that had nothing to do with Della, which might be why people have been underplaying how much he's grown throughout the season. While Huey is freaking out over his perfectly meticulated plan going up in smokes, the other team stumbles upon not the missing mysteries, that's for sure.
Wait, what?
Following some scientific and magical tests, it's discovered that these two, who are called April and June, are genetic clones of Webby, as the feather Black Heron took at the end of the split Sawdust Swansonine wasn't Scrooge's but one of hers. I had to go back to that episode and see at what point this might have occurred, and I'm fairly sure the only time it could have happened is here. This immediately puts Mrs. Beakley on edge, as she tells the kids to keep their distance. Violet tells Webby they should look into this, when to the shock of everyone, Lena sides with the authority figures. Though, as she said, she is an expert on magically charged clones created by Scrooge's enemies. Then, here come the waterworks.
I just don't want anything to happen to you, Pink. Besides, you've already got sisters.
Louie is watching the series finale of Ottoman Empire, which isn't important at all, but I just really want to highlight the moment Louie just destroys Dewey. May and June get locked in the closet where they find the bag of marbles from the first episode, as Webby enters the only way Webby knows how, by busting through the vents. May and June are confused about why exactly they were made, so Webby takes them to her room where she shows them her family board, which, upon offering us a bunch of shipping fuel, once more cements this show as the ultimate found family piece of media. However, the clones have difficulty grasping the concept of found family and start cutting strings. Unfortunately, they start with Lena's. Even more unfortunately, it happens just as she enters the room. We cut to the houseboat as Donald is getting ready to leave as Della makes one more attempt at talking him out of it. She is scared of losing her brother, especially after she just got back from, you know, being stranded on the moon for almost 11 years. Huey is outside, still going through his existential crisis, just in time to stumble upon June stealing the Sawdust Swansonine, which Della getting that out in the first place was just a dumb move on her part. Huey goes to tell Dewey and Louie what he saw, where Webby overhears them and calls them out for not understanding that her, June and May just want to learn the truth about their family, which especially stings since Webby was so dedicated to helping Dewey find out what happened to his mom all the way back in season 1. Mrs. Beakley has decided to go after Fowl by herself as Scrooge attempts to talk her out of it, likening the situation back to Last Crash of the Sunchaser.
Look, I made the mistake of keeping a secret from my family once and it almost tore us apart. This family can handle the truth, Bentina, whatever it is.
Despite his desperate attempts to get through to her, Beakley incapacitates him and leaves. Webby stumbles upon the clones and realises that Huey was right, as May takes off with the Sawdust Swansonine and the blessed bagpipes of Clan McDuck, while June attempts to take Webby by force. This was a stunning fight scene with amazing choreography, and I was really surprised how brutal it got at some points. The two are equally matched as June drinks the last of the gummy berry juice, which was set up a few scenes prior. I was kinda surprised something like that was used up here and didn't play a role in the climax of the story, considering how significant it is. The serum was introduced in the season 1 episode The Confidential Case Files of Agent 22, which was not only our first appearance of Black Heron, but also a hugely important episode in developing Scrooge and Webby's relationship, which is going to be decently relevant to the final act of this episode. Huey tries to apologise to Webby only to find the room ransacked as she is about to be taken away. I absolutely love that Huey, with barely any hesitation, goes after Webby on his own. An aspect of Huey I don't think people acknowledge enough is that despite his anxiety, he is exceptionally brave when it counts. He could have and probably should have gone to get the rest of the family, but he didn't want to risk losing Webby that much that he charged in on his own. But then, surprise twist, Webby was able to defeat June and assume her identity in a really clever callback to Escape from the Impossible Bin. I mean, come on, this is Webby Vanderduck we're talking about here. Did you really think she was going to be taken out that easily? Donald is getting ready to leave as the remaining boys charge at the car and tell him and Della what's happened. As Donald thinks it's just a prank until he's shown Huey's Junior Woodchuck guidebook, only with no Huey attached to it. Which is the moment Donald realizes the seriousness of the situation, proving once again that he is just the best dad. We finally find out what Bradford meant when he sent Gandra to the Lost Library, as the jet touches down outside the Library of Alexandria, which Webby is very enthusiastic about. Huey gets discovered as he and Webby are separated. The rest of the family is currently rallying for the rescue mission, as before Scrooge can even attempt to stop the kids, they lay down the law with him.
Save it, we're coming.
Fenton tried to help me get my people back. I'm gonna do the same for him. Huey made me not a killer robot. It's Webby.
So are we gonna do that thing where you tell us not to go and we sneak along anyway?
Or are we gonna go get our family back?
And it was all these little moments that truly made the show so special. All the care that went into crafting each character's story so that they are able to perfectly converge and weave together by the end. Okay, from here on out the episode is much less fractured, so I won't need to give a full play-by-play analysis on everything, and can just go over all the prominent characters and the ending of their stories. Since the episode is really about her, let's start with Webby and her quest to learn about her origins, which I'm expecting to be hands down the most contentious part of the finale. From the second May and June are introduced, it was obvious that Webby was also a foul creation since they were missing April. Yet, I could not have possibly guessed how this would all turn out. Webby was cloned from Scrooge for the purpose of finding the Papyrus of Binding, which was introduced in the first adventure. However, Beakley found her during a raid of Fowl's base and decided to abandon her mission to take care of her. This makes Webby Scrooge's biological daughter, which, looking back, was heavily foreshadowed throughout the entire series. Now, I have already seen some people saying that Webby being a blood relative of Scrooge undermines the found family aspect of the show, but I don't see it like that because it is essentially swapping found family with Scrooge for found family with Beakley. In fact, that kind of strengthens the core message of the show, with having Beakley adopt a creation of her sworn enemy. Basically, I enjoy the twist. The episode was so great in showing just how much Webby has grown over the series, from the opening which calls back to her first ever Spotlight episode, to the moment she finally gets through to May and June, showing how much greater her understanding of family has become. I would say this isn't the same girl who spent the first years of her life locked away in the mansion, but that isn't entirely true.
I'm still Mansion Webby, but I'm also World Explorer Webby and Best Friend Webby.
Since we finished talking about Webby, it's only fitting we move right on to Mrs. Beakley. However, I don't have a lot to say about her. The main episodes her arc calls back to are The Lost Harp of Nirvana and Escape from the Impossible Bin, which put a strong focus on her and Webby. Her role in this episode is pretty much just to give us our main moral and then exemplify it. However, I have to give some attention to Tox Olagundoye's performance because she was phenomenal, especially the scene in part 1 where she has to blatantly lie to Webby while still sounding so genuine and comforting. It takes true talent to get across such complexities in just a voice alone, but she pulls it off beautifully. Well, this was Huey's season, so let's talk about how his story wrapped up. The episode isn't too focused on giving Huey this big dramatic conclusion because that's never what his arc was. It was all about his internal conflict. He wasn't uncovering some huge dark family secret or trying to start a business. His arc has been much more down to earth and real, as the problems he's had to deal with are forging and maintaining new relationships, having his thought process constantly undermined by his loved ones, and struggling with the uncertainty of the future. Seemingly mundane issues that I'm sure many neurodivergent people have been able to relate to. I know I certainly have. I would argue that Huey's true conclusion comes from this moment right here.
How did you guys find me? The Junior Woodchuck guidebook has the answer to everything. Aww.
After Dewey and Louie have spent most of the season belittling Huey and making fun of his special interest, here we get a moment where they kind of reach an understanding in their brief yet heartfelt reunion. I do wish we had a moment from Dewey and Louie's side where they realize how much they need Huey, especially after the way they treated him for quite a few episodes this season. But this moment was still really nice and shows how much the trio completes each other, as they then come together with the rest of the family to save Scrooge, where Huey gets to finally finish the line, and you can tell how excited Danny was about that.
But family is the greatest adventure of all!
Dewey and Louie did not have huge roles in the episode overall, because the previous two already pretty much closed out their stories, but I was still very satisfied with what we did get. When the family splits up for the rescue mission, Scrooge places Dewey and Louie in charge of the kids team, where Dewey, after only having just learned how to properly fly, has his final face-off with Don Carnage. Louie tries to give the team an encouraging pep talk, but as always, he's the only one making any sort of sense.
Okay, everyone, I know you're scared. Our enemy, they have unimaginable weaponry. They definitely have superior numbers. It appears they even have a flawless master plan that none of us can figure out. But us, we are just kids. We are completely in over our heads.
But then we get this really sweet moment between the two of them, which is nice since I feel their relationship wasn't explored too much in the series, as we either focused on the kids together or split them up, with Dewey always going with Webby and Louie always going with Huey. So seeing them actually work together and having Louie tell Dewey he believes in him was a moment truly worth waiting for.
Forget them! I don't think even Scrooge could get us out of this one. But I'm not on his team, I'm on yours. So I have an important question for you. How do we Dewey this?
I don't know how they did it, but Launchpad had the best conclusion in the finale, and the only moment not counting the very end that reduced me to an emotional wreck. Which, since he basically disappeared from the face of the earth after Let's Get Dangerous, was really nice to see. Of everything I was expecting from the last episode, Launchpad donning the Gizmo Duck armor was not one of them. Once everyone has been captured and locked away in boxes, which was what Launchpad predicted in part 1, he gets completely beat down by a bunch of the series' most powerful reoccurring villains, after they've all been brainwashed by Steelbeak wielding the IntelliRay. But just as he's about to give up, after having earlier in the episode shown how much doubt he has in himself, Drake and Fenton remind him of the impact he's had on their lives and how he inspired them to be heroes, which leads to a bunch of characters rallying around Launchpad and giving him the strength to get back up, which once again proves that Launchpad is always right.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm everybody's friend.
It is such a beautiful moment that has been a long time coming and felt entirely earned. We may have not gotten the Drake pad confirmation we so desperately crave, but this was almost just as good. Almost. Also, easily one of the top 5 callbacks in the episode.
Oh, and what are you supposed to be?
I'm a pilot.
And with that, we arrive at Scrooge McDuck, who, for the first 2 parts of the episode, really took a back seat to everything, mostly giving emotional support wherever it's needed. Once they arrive at the Library of Alexandria, Scrooge, Donald and Della fight off the eggheads, until Rockaduck shows up with some aging water from the Forbidden Fountain of the Foreverglades, which transforms his assistant Jeeves back into his adult form. Beakley shows up to save them, only for all of them to immediately be captured. Scrooge is tortured by Bradford's totally not villainous monologue, which manages to include pretty much every single episode they haven't already called back to yet. He's able to break free and starts fighting off Bradford, who uses the Sword of Swanstantine to achieve his final form. It's revealed that Bradford has modified the Celedro circuit so that rather than transporting things to other dimensions, it erases them from existence entirely. Bradford delivers Scrooge's ultimatum. It's either adventures or his family. Which, after Bradford threatens to kill Donald, Scrooge doesn't hesitate for a second, despite Donald pleading with him to find another way. This is especially poignant after the previous episode was all about Scrooge accepting the consequences of his past actions and moving on from the man he used to be. The old Scrooge would have doubled down on his huge ego, gambling the lives of his family because of his confidence that he could find an angle out. But this isn't that Scrooge. This is a Scrooge who wouldn't dare risk his family for anything, especially after having already lost them twice before. And so he accepts the contract and all its conditions, rendering him a helpless old man unable to even move. Since we're at the climax of the episode, let's talk about Bradford, who I'm surprised they were actually able to make a decently threatening antagonist. I was admittedly a little worried how his final face-off with Scrooge would compare against his much more powerful counterparts in Magica and Lunaris, but those two never actually killed anyone. Speaking of which, going back to the reveal of his plan, can we talk about how Bradford totally killed Duckworth, or at the very least orchestrated the circumstances which led to his demise? Kinda hard to argue you aren't a villain after that, so he stops arguing, and finally succumbs to what he is on the inside, a base villain who is out for blood, as he taunts Scrooge by revealing he is the reason Della learned about the Spear of Selene, which was part of his plan all along. And from this point on, I was rooting for his death. While I didn't get that, I was more or less happy with his fate. Okay, on to the lightning round. I have pretty much covered Donald and Della already, but can we talk about how after Della decides to let her brother go off on his own adventure with the love of his life, she almost had to watch him die? That is all kinds of messed up. I'm a little disappointed that in her final appearance, Della didn't get to interact too much with her kids, but considering how little of Della and Donald interacting we got throughout the season, this arc was severely needed. And we also get this absolutely amazing callback to the first episode.
Donald Duck.
Uncle Scrooge.
Donald Duck.
Uncle Scrooge.
Lena's role in the episode is pretty much reiterating the conclusion she came to in The Phantom and the Sorceress, once again proclaiming her as the protector of all magical creatures as she has a final face down with the Phantom Blot. She had just so many great moments in this episode, and I was really happy with how they left her in the end. After years of being Magica's shadow puppet, she has not only severed herself from her, but has carved out her own identity, accepting the magic she was born from as part of her. I am so proud of her and everything she has been able to accomplish throughout her arc. Manny the Headless Man Horse earned the most out-of-nowhere awesome plot twist ever award by revealing he is actually part of an ancient prophecy said to bring the apocalypse. The Phantom Blot uses the blessed bagpipes of Clan McDuck to allow him to speak. Manny just wants to be a regular guy, but the Phantom Blot doesn't care and starts turning him to stone. This is when Lena shows up to defend him, but as the Phantom Blot starts to overpower her, we get possibly the coolest piece of animation in the entire series, as Manny removes the head of Scrooge's statue and grows back his own in a transformation sequence that references the Disney Afternoon series Gargoyles. And of course he's voiced by Keith David, because Keith David is just in everything now, and I am not complaining. Gosling was mostly used for comedy in this episode, but had a really great moment where her and Boyd came to save Launchpad. Boyd had some really cute moments with Gyro being his parent, and a nice callback to his friendship with Huey and Astro Boyd. I also love that little bit we've got of him and Little Bob's relationship. Little Boyd is both utterly terrifying and completely adorable. With how much build-up they got throughout the season, I was expecting some real payoff for the Agents of Foul, but aside from Steelbeak, they really didn't get a lot outside of a few jokes. I understand it was only an hour and there was a lot of ground to cover, but I needed just a touch more pepper in my finale. And finally we have Ludwig von Drake, who was quite the shock to say the least. Aside from giving us a nice helping of exposition, he really didn't do a lot, besides giving us the best joke in the entire show.
Impossible! You were ancient in the 60s. How are you not dead? Well, between being captured and that Bradford forcing me to carry out his evil will, I was getting so busy that I never got around to it.
There were a bunch of other characters with a few lines, but aside from Gandra, they were all really there for the sake of fan service. So let's move on to the ending. Once Bradford's contract is broken by the power of family and his armor stripped away from him, he attempts to make a dramatic escape. Up the stairs that lead to nothing. There he comes face to face with Magica, Flintheart Glomgold and Ma Beagle, who are disappointed by this pathetic new addition to Scrooge's Rogues Gallery. So Magica turns the buzzard into a buzzard, because this show couldn't ride off into the sunset without making me question the logic of its world one more time. Webby and Scrooge hug upon learning their new relation as Mrs. B starts to bounce. Webby gives chase, bringing her and Scrooge together as the core family, minus Launchpad for some reason, all ambush them with a huge group hug. We cut to the mostly intact Sunchaser flying back to Duckburg, as inside the plane we give all the characters their final moments. Fenton and Gandra kiss, Gyro repairs Boyd, Drake is...
I can't believe Launchpad was gizmoed up the whole time.
Drake, and Donald basically adopts June and May. Scrooge puts a life vest on Webby similar to what Donald did in the first episode, which Beakley immediately takes off. And then, I can't do this.
You don't have to worry about us, Uncle Scrooge. We're smarter, we're tougher, we're sharper.
And we'll earn our way square.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Launchpad rushes over for another group hug as Della takes over flying. After sighing in relief that he didn't ruin the tender family moment, he ruins the tender family moment by opening up the hatch, flinging all the characters out of the plane. And the episode closes out with the end credits being this amazing rendition of the theme song during a text scroll, with a bunch of little moments that perfectly sum up each character. Okay, that wraps up the main story and character journeys, so let's quickly go over some technicals. As is to be expected at this point, the animation raised its game considerably. While watching for the first time, it honestly felt like most of the episode had that really good animation that has been sprinkled throughout the season. Even the more mundane stuff, which is usually when the character acting might get a little stiff, there was so much more extra polish added. I especially want to mention the amazing camera rotation shots in a few scenes. The team pushed the visuals so much further than they ever have before for their final outing, and their work did not go unnoticed. Same can be said for the music. The last episode honestly felt like the warm-up act for this, because there are so many stunning pieces of emotional music that just make these final moments for these characters feel even bigger, giving them the fanfare they rightfully deserve. And I am once again bringing up that launchpad scene because I am obsessed with it.
We may be heroes, but you have the heart of one.
In the writing department, this episode was everything Moonvasion was trying to be and so much more. It did quite a lot of really fast-paced and well-written comedy, but I never felt like I was getting cheated out of any really emotional character development. The episode is incredibly funny when it needs to be, but also has full awareness of when it's time to give the jokes a rest, or sometimes incorporating jokes into the really emotional moments without removing a hint of the sincerity. The whole thing just had such an amazing structure in how it incorporated so many callbacks and payoffs to previous episodes or elements without it ever becoming too distracting. From the gummy berry juice to all the cameos to tying in pretty much every season 3 episode into its story. If this whole thing wasn't planned out from the start, then the writers are very good at hiding that fact. And that was DuckTales 2017. One of, if not the greatest reboot to ever exist. From its first frame until its last, it has been an amazing 4-year ride. Each character has gone on such a remarkable journey from beginning to end, whether those arcs spanned 3 episodes or 23. With each new adventure, the team just continued to reach new heights in their visuals and storytelling, creating so many unforgettable moments that will stick with us for years to come. Of course, it had problems, as does every piece of media that has ever existed, but they hardly matter when looking at the overall picture. This series is a work of art, a once-in-a-lifetime journey you could only find in animation. However, when all is said and done, this ending was everything I wanted. It was emotional, grand, expertly crafted, and so satisfying to the point where, after a good cry, I was pretty much at peace with the fact it was over. At least for now. Tell me down below what your thoughts on the finale were. Were you as pleased with it as I was, or were you wanting something a little different? I would love to discuss it with you. Thanks for watching, folks. See you real soon.